Hello guys, welcome back. This is the arrival, approach, landing and everything video, part 3 of my tutorial series for the FSLabs A320 family. So that includes the A319, A320 and A321. Well, it does include the A318, but FSLabs haven't done the A318. But this works exactly the same as all other Airbus add-ons, I guess you could say. Right, arrival. Before we descend, we're just approaching this top descent. You're going to find out how to find out your distance. And just hit the perf page on the cruise, and it should say distance in nautical miles. So not long to go, and your time you should be there. I just want to quickly go to the flight plan page and go and click on destination. So you just click the airport here at the bottom left, click the bottom top right, and then you can put in the arrival. I've already put it in. No, it's already been put in. Not I have put it in. But within the RNAV 10, and we're not doing a star today. But if you were doing a star, you'll select it here. And also if you were doing an approach, or via an approach, you set it here, which we're doing now, which is via Sluggo. So we insert that, so just overwrite the old one, and there you go, that's our approach done. For the descent, what you can do is just set a random altitude. I've set 10,000 for now, and basically as soon as it hits about 4 to 3 miles to go, I recommend hitting this, or pushing it in, not hitting, push the button in, and that will activate the descent. Also, next phase again, you've got this approach stuff, but we'll fill that out just as soon as we're about to descend. There's 4 miles, I'm going to click this in now, so left click, remember to push it in, and there you go, we begin our descent. If we go to the menu, ATSU, AOC menu, and then go to weather/ATIS, you can see, let's move this up one. Like sounds, it's just annoying my OCD. There we go. So Quest TNCM airport weather data. We go and click the METAR, so we get the METAR for this airport. I've already done it, so it's there, but we'll just do it again. So it'll come through, hopefully, maybe. It doesn't take this long. I misclicked. Anyway, it probably is because it's already sent me one. If it doesn't send me one, then look at the sky. But if it does, then it should send you this. So it'll give you the day of the month, so 15 and 14:33 Zulu. Not now, it was. Wait, 14. It's an hour off. Anyway, 080 at 20 knots, gusting to 32 knots. So yeah, pretty windy. Visibility is great, and there's some clouds at 1600 feet, scattered at 3500 feet as well. And temperatures 27 degrees centigrade, dew point 22, and QNH is 1018. So what you do, go and transfer that over to your approach phase, and then with perf, next phase, and you make sure you get in the approach phase. So QNH 1018, 27 degrees, and winds are 080 at 20 knots, gusting to 30. We won't put the gust in because it's a gust, so we'll put in 20 knots. So to find out your MDA and decision height, you need to go to your charts, your Navigraph charts, or whatever chart you have to find out. If you don't have charts, then what I just recommend, putting 200 in the decision height, or if you know what the airport altitude is, add 200 to the airport altitude and put it into MDA. But yeah, anyway, yeah, like I said, go to the charts, and you go to the approach checklist, and you can see here's our straight in landing runway 10. We will be taking this one of 700 feet for the MDA and 686 feet for the DH or Barrow, or right, this is the radio or Barrow if you talk about Boeing. We'll be taking this 700 feet, the bold, and we'll be entering that into the MDA. So this is your height above sea level, and this is your altitude above sea level, and this is your height above ground. And that's the difference between those two. We'll be doing config 4 today. If you were going to do config 3, I do recommend it. It's pretty fun to do, but make sure you are light. We are not light. We've still got tons of fuel on board, so I don't know why. And you've got a lot of runway, and the conditions are pretty good, and our conditions are pretty bad. So we're going to be doing config 4. If you are going to do config 3, you have to tick this box here, so landing flap 3. So then over here it does say GPWS flap 3. So then your aircraft knows landing flaps 3, so it doesn't moan at you when you don't set flaps full. But like I said, we are going to be configuring with flaps full. Right, we can just go away from here. Typically, sometimes you may get a stand and gate as well, which is pretty cool for your airport, but today we haven't got anything, so we'll just leave it like that. So that's the approach page all filled out, and that's the approach basically set up until you get to the approach. Anyway, we're going to get seatbelt signs on because we're landing soon. We've been flying for 3 hours and 5 minutes now, and there we are on our descent down to St. Maarten. Once again, if your aircraft says ice detected through clouds and cold weather, and you may see ice on there, then do turn on your engine anti-ice. Sometimes it doesn't like the wing anti-ice. Well, most times it likes it when you're in the air. But when you get on the ground, sometimes it hates you having the wing anti-ice on. I'm not too sure why. Maybe it just gets angry at you because it doesn't actually need the wing anti-ice. Because you're not going to need the wings on the ground, are you? Anyway, look at that. We've used almost 11 tons of fuel. Wow. And we've got about 5 tons left. Like, why is Simbrief giving us like super many amounts of fuel? Basically, what I like to do is zoom in so that I have the rest of the route filled in to as a minimum of the range as possible. So if I get to 40, then I don't have the rest of the route in. So I get to 80, and that's fine. I get the whole route in, and then, and as always, I just keep this one notch down from the right side. I don't know why. It's just a thing I've done like for all my 5 years of flight simming. So, or is it 5 years? Oh, maybe 6 years now. I've been saying 5 years for at least 1 year. So maybe it is 6 years from now. So as you can probably tell, this is once again a slightly boring part, but I wouldn't say boring, less interactive. There we go, part of the flight. So you just wait until 10,000 for the landing lights to come on, because we are not doing the transition flight level until 6,500 feet, which, if you remember on my first video, I said you can find the transition altitude on here if you're on the takeoff page, and the same for the approach phase page, sorry. So yeah, 6,500 feet, and it's really cool, the FSLabs, it grabs the transition flight level for you. It's like PMDG and Aerosoft, and I think the Aerosoft does grab it automatically, but yeah, PMDG doesn't do it. Maybe it's just the Boeing, not PMDG. Anyway, let's bring this down to 5,000 feet. So, passing 10,000 feet, we'll set the landing lights to on, just the landing lights, that is. And then we get this nose and the turn-off lights once we get to the ground. Well, not get to the ground, get the gear down, close to the ground. If I get to the plan view here, let me see if it's a bit easier to talk through things about upcoming stuff. Yeah, so this purple, pink, whatever colour you think it is, D means deceleration. Basically, this D activates the approach phase. If you go to the perf page, it says activate approach phase. This D does it for you, or you can do it, or you do it when you want to do it, basically, and that will activate the approach phase, which sets your speed to whatever this V app speed is. So currently it's 157, but I typically don't go down to that speed straight away, and I set 180 in the speed dial. Maybe 180, maybe 210, depending on how far out I am. We'll find out today, and I'll talk through it, talk you through it as well. And then typically a Vaki, as you can tell, it's basically 10 miles from the runway. So I like to set 180 knots ish, around 12 miles to run. So it'll be just before we hit this waypoint, we'll set 180, and then the speed's going down to 250 knots. We do need to bring out some speed brakes. All we have to do is just bring it all the way out to however, I mean, whatever best. Maybe half speed brake will do sometimes. So we're going to set that now. But the aircraft does plan to slow down the descent anyway. As you can tell, the VNAV slowed down here because it does plan to slow that down, so you can slow down to 250 knots. So there we are, slowing down. Anyway, can we see the island? Don't think so. Not yet. It's still too far away. It's about 40 miles away from us, so 35-ish miles from us. In that direction somewhere. Anyway, that's basically 12,000 feet-ish passing. So we get the land lights on. We should go to the wing view here. We can see them coming down. That's annoying. There you go. There's the lights. There's a retract. So then turns on. Cool, right? I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe FSLabs can fix that weird glitch. Oh my god, it's so quiet. Engines are idle, and because we're flying fast, the sound kind of goes away and then spools up, and then it gets really loud again. Anyway, let's go with the speed brake, otherwise the aircraft gets very angry. I am using a speed brake. I'm using a lever, so I'm not looking down there to change it, but you can just do it yourself by clicking, or can you scroll it? No, you can't scroll it, but yeah, you can click it if you want, and then arm it as well. In fact, we will arm it now. So ground support is armed, and we'll also set the auto brake. If we go back to the charts here, we can check the runway length, which is 2,300 meters. So with an A321 out with almost 5 tons of fuel, we're most certainly going to be doing max reverse with medium auto brake. Hopefully, I'm going to bring the charts back again. Hopefully, we can get turning around at this point here. If not, we have to go all the way down. But hopefully, we can turn around there. Pretty simple, right? He says, there seems to be an aircraft ahead of us. Is he descending? No, he's at a static altitude. Can I see him? No, typically at this point on distance they're just specks in the air. Right, land update, can I see anything? I think I can see something, or was that cloud? Yeah, it's too hard to tell. Zoom in once more there, and boom, so we can zoom in once more here. Cool. As I said, a vacuum is basically the waypoint we line up with our runway. So I'm going to set 2,600 feet, which it restricts us into here. So I'm going to turn the dial to 100, from 1,000 to 100, so we get them in smaller increments like so. 2,600. I'm going to revert it back to 1,000 if we had to if we go around and we have to set a certain altitude. Also, while we're just descending here doing nothing, I can talk about the go around procedure. So if you are going to go around, what you do, you just set toga and set, if you're on config full, you set flaps 3. If you're already in config 3, then you stay on flaps 3. And you basically, it's like taking off again with config 3 at toga thrust, simply put it. And then your aircraft will realise you've done a go around, and it'll basically redo the flight plan for you. It's really simple. Anyway, let's go and set this QNH to 1018, shall we? So click it in, scroll all the way to 1018, click it in, scroll all the way to 1018, and once again, click it in, scroll to 1018. As you saw me there, I was just changing between inches and hectopascals, then a dial behind it. Most of you will be doing an ILS approach. So before we do the RNAV, I'm going to show you how to do the ILS. So it's exactly the same, but the ILS is one more step. You turn this on. That's it. You turn that on for the ILS. What you can do is right click and it'll turn it on both sides, or if it's a left click and it'll just operate one side. So see, there's a left clicking, it's not operating the first officer side. If I right click, it does both sides. As you can see over here. Do the same on the other side as well. So yeah, if you're doing the ILS, turn it on. If you're not doing the ILS, turn it off. Simple. And then everything from now on, if you're doing an RNAV, do the same as me. If you're doing an ILS, keep this on. Simple. I'll bring out some speed brake about halfway again. Like I said, I have a lever, so a lever, so I can do it automatically without looking down there. I'm going to set the aircraft down to about 210 knots, or 220 knots, because I don't really want to come in pretty fast here. So I'm going to bring it down to 210, bring out max speed brake, and let the aircraft decide what it's going to do. We are going to get a bit close to like some stalling speeds here, but this yellow band here, this is fine. This band here though, yeah, try and be careful. If you do reduce the speed brake, you'll see that retracts with the speed brake. It's coming closer, so I'm going to retract the speed brake a bit. So it just goes away from us, like so, and it's happy. Right, for the RNAV approach, we just hit the approach. But I can't hit the approach button yet, now. Whatever. Ah, there we go. With an RNAV, this comes through. Now that has come through, now we can click approach. Boom, and it hits final approach. There we go, that's how you do it. Right, flaps 1. I forgot how to do an RNAV approach. Lol. Right, so yeah. With the RNAVs, people, you just have to have that on before. If you have this on when doing an RNAV, then it hates you basically. The aircraft just wants to cry. We're going to set the speed to 180 because we're getting to about 12 miles away from the airport. And sometimes the approach phase doesn't automatically activate, but it has, because you can tell this approach is in green. Because of the strong winds, I might set the approach speed a bit higher, because if we get a bit of wind shear, that'd be pretty bad. Apparently the gusts are ended, so it should be fine. Anyway, I'm going to set this, I'm going to round up to like, well, not round up, add it 10 to the landing speed, so 152. Should get a left turn very soon. If you're wondering how to set how to know when to bring out the flaps. See this double dash yellow line? As long as you're under there, you can set the next set of flaps. You see that moves down. So this is now the flap 3 restriction. So we can set flaps 3 if we want as well, but we're not going to do that until we bring the gear down. And you bring the gear down around about 2,000 feet. Here comes the aircraft descending again. Before I forget, I am going to get these landing lights on for the nose, because sometimes I have forgotten about doing that. Very silly me. And I do see the runway in sight, which is always a good thing to do. If you're landing in the mist or the clouds, then make sure that your RLS knows what it's doing. If you're going to do an auto land as well, have both autopilots turned on, adds to the accuracy for the aircraft. So yeah, auto landing with RLS, make sure this AP2 and AP1 are both in the green. Nice and lined up. There's 2,000 feet more or less. So like I said, I'm going to bring the gear down.
2,000.
And we got a little call from the cabin, so let's talk to him.
Yep, that's the cabin secure for landing.
Thank you, Norman.
See you on the ground, bye.
Bye-bye. So that's Norman, very nice guy. And I'm going to set config 3 and set the final approach speed by clicking this in so it's got the dash 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 dot. As well, to make sure this is armed, like so. And I'm going to set flaps full so we have no chance of stalling this aircraft. Like I said, we do have a 20 knot direct headwind. Luckily it's not anything like a crosswind, which is nice. So as you can tell, landing gear down, signs are on, spoilers are on, flaps are full, lights are on. It does say ignition because when you have drag, so for example flaps or speed brake, it comes up with this ignition. I think it just basically means there's no chance of the engine shutting down because you have that drag. Anyway, for us on the Yarnav today, we are going to be landing without the autopilot. So to take it out, you can simply click the autopilot button and then cancel the warning, which we can do now. Or if you just have a keybind, you can just click the keybind and you should be able to cancel it pretty quickly. So we're just going to do this because we need to pitch down a bit more though. Try and follow this RNAV. Basically, you need to follow the flight director with this for now. So this is pitch down. Follow 2 green lines. It's going to just see it nicer. So I'll zoom in. Anyway, there we go. So when you get close to the runway, about 50 feet, you should start to initially slowly, very slowly, otherwise you'll flare back about a couple degrees. I'm not very good at this, I must be honest, but real procedures, about 50 feet, it'll call it out, and you just slowly pull back on the stick or yoke, whatever you use. And then around 30 or 20 feet, well 30 feet, the aircraft will start shouting retard at you. No, it's not calling you a retard, it means set the thrust to idle. So this is not like a Boeing 737 where you disconnect the auto throttle. It's basically you keep the auto throttle in all the way until the very end when it starts shouting retard at you, which you then set your throttle to idle or thrust, whatever you want to call it. 100 above. That's just talking about the minimums. So we set the minimums quite a while ago. Minimum 700 feet. Minimum continue. So now the RNAV is now cancelled because of the way this approach is set up. It's just the flight director's just disappeared and it's now turned into a visual approach. So you just got to use your pilot skills, less of an FSLabs skill right now of just trying to get it all towards the airport here, or the runway I should say. Just land it so you park straight onto the terminal gate. 300. Right, so it's just got 3 reds there, so I'm just want to put up a bit of tap to the left maybe as well, so we can centre up with the runway. And I feel like we're just floating a bit more, so let's push down a bit. 100. Not many people on the beach just then.
50.
So that's 50, 40, so slowly pull back a bit.
30. 20. Retard.
And it starts shouting retard, so set idle, pull back a bit more to continue the flare, and then there you go, touchdown. Try and keep it in the centre as well as soon as you touch down. Try not to do any rudder movements before you touch down, and like I said, max reverse. Just hold down F2 or whatever reverses you've got from max reverse, and there you go. And we didn't make it towards that nil D10 zone, but there we are. 60 knots, so once the 60 knots pass, you want to set reverses back into forward idle, and then you can cancel the auto brake by just tapping the brakes like so. And there's our flight time done, so we can hit the chrono button. It's 3 hours and 22 minutes. The ACARs will actually give us a better better time. Let's hit the pedal disconnect so we can start steering the aircraft again. I'm just going to use the brakes to change the way we turn just then. Let's go and steer it around. And typically, every time in real life this is, the only time they clear up if they're spinning on the spot is when they're spinning, not like before they get to spin. Anyway, like I said, we'll clear up then. So to cancel the spoilers, you can just clip it down to there, or if you got
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving
just
their
trying to make
seats
sure I
to
can
perform safety-related duties.
line up properly.
However, we ask that you remain seated.
Or if you have a lever, like like me, if it's armed, then you can just bring it down, boom, or like that, and then it'll cancel. And then flaps up is simple. Auto brake will cancel when you just tap the brakes as well. It should be around about 16 knots-ish. You want to go into manual braking, because then you don't have to stress out the brakes even more. Anyway, that's how you land. Project Fly gave us a landing rate of -168, which is very nice, in fact. Like I said, it was actually 20 feet. Start shouting retard at you. I was wrong. I thought it said 30 feet. Anyway, we're on a runway. We're backtracking. This is a backtrack procedure where you just go back on the runway, taxi on the runway, that is. Because it is a runway, there's no reason why you can't taxi at high speeds. So let's go do that. And at the same time, I'm just going to take a look at the stands we can park at. The GSX, Gate A. We can't take any of them? Would that be? No, we can't. I'm trying to taxi too fast though. 40 knots, I would say, is my maximum. Yeah, well, it looks like Ultra Traffic Live is doing something unrealistic here. We're not going to turn in here because that's supposed to be for the Win Air, whatever they're called. But they're all parked at the big stands. Here we go. We'll turn in on Delta. We're going to turn off the landing lights, and the nose light can go to taxi light, and our strobes can go off, and we can start up the APU. I've just realised it's quite a short taxi, so it would have been alright if we started up the APU before we got to here. But like I said, to start the APU, wait for it to shout, flap open. Now, and we start the APU. Right. We are just gonna turn off auto traffic lights today, so just Control-Shift-T. So there's no other traffic around. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a left. Maybe we should have turned in at Charlie, but I think Charlie's a closed taxiway. Or maybe it was Delta that's closed. Maybe they're not closed at all. I swear one of them was closed to the public, or not the public. What am I on about? Just closed in general, but maybe it's not anymore. Anyway, let's take a right, and we'll just go straight into that one there. I think that's Alpha 2. I could be wrong. Actually, no. Let's take a medium stand. Let's go Alpha 4 right at the end, like so. And we just heard the click. That basically means the APU started up because this generator's come alive. And there you go, that little start button has now come off from on because it started. Anyway, we'll turn off the not the land lights, just the normal lights, because we don't want to blind anyone on the ground. And I just realised we still have the radar. Restart the weather radar one. So you can turn it off if you want, like so. The predict wind shear is fine to stay on if you want it to stay on, but it's not really necessary because you're not going to get any wind shear when you're taxiing on the ground. We have a safe dock GSX, don't need you. Sorry, Marshaller. In fact, you might actually get pierced, which obviously is not a thing you want. So I recommend standing down, woman. Is it the woman today? It is. Well, maybe she can help us. Or not. We'll use a safe dock instead, because that's more accurate. Okay, stop. Set the parking brake like so. And like I said, make sure the APU's on, and make sure the APU bleed is on. And then what you can do is now shut down both of your engines. Oh, let's click there. Like so. You can see, like, just then, when you shut them down, it's like, you see engine 1 is lower down than engine 2 there. So you can just right click it again, and it'll click down like so. And there we are. Both engines shut down. You can stop the timer, and you can see brake fan. It does say the brakes are hot, so I'm going to turn them on.
Your doors are clear to open.
And what we can do is just go and click the interphone, and I think it's interphone. I think that's what that stands for. And back to the VHF. That brings up the GSX menu. I think it does. Maybe not today. We'll bring up the GSX menu and request deboarding, and we'll do the typical deboarding. Did it say gate to 4 left? Did it say 4 left? No, no. Okay. Right, big light can go off once the engines are down, and the seatbelt signs can go off as well. And once you parked here for long enough, the external power will come available, and my chair is now squeaking. But yeah, hopefully this external power will come on very soon. There we go. It says available, so you can turn it on, and then you can turn off the APU, so you can get rid of that. And when the external power is available, chocks are on, so you can go and release the park and brake like so, and then you can turn off the brake fan because they won't get any hotter. They'll just cool down when the park and brake is off. So that's basically, you can leave the aircraft like here and get ready for your next flight, but also if you did the A cars, you can go to the ATSU AOC, if I click it, there we go, back to the very first page, which is the init page, and you can put in the landing pilot like so. You can send it off to the Hifi website, so you can see the actual block time and flight time here, 3 hours and 21 minutes, block time 3 hours and 44, there was no roll to land, and then we'll send it off. And if you go to the Hifi's website, you can go and see some more stats about your landing and other flight information, I guess you could say. It's mainly about the flight directive being on, so it's going to turn it off like so. Turn off the terrain as well. But also, if you want to shut down even more of the aircraft, you can turn off the RSs like so, turn off your fuel pumps like so, and you can even turn off the emergency exit lights, but I'll keep them unarmed because there's still passengers on. But yeah, that's actually how you fly an FSLabs A321 and A320 and A319, just one's longer than the other ones. So yeah, if you fly the CFM variants, and like I said, the A320 variants, is exactly the same. It's just different. It just looks different. Just think of that. Think of it that way. Yeah. So welcome to St. Maarten. Once again, we've got the belt, and there's nothing really else to do. And if you want to look at my landing rate, I was not lying. It did come out to be minus 168, and the G-force of 1.5, which is pretty standard, I would say. I always get G-force around about 1.5, 1.6. I don't know why. My landing speed is quite low, so anyway, luckily we didn't tail strike at all because I'm pro. But yeah, thank you for watching the FSLabs tutorial. Next tutorial, not next video necessarily, but next tutorial will probably be the why does it stop me there? Oh well, maybe it's just so the jetway can get over, but stop getting distracted. Next tutorial will be in the Quality Wings 787, and love the scenery, those birds. So yeah, like I said, that's how you shut down the aircraft. The jetway beacon is flashing in the VC, as you can tell. Like I said, this is virtually the cold and dark state, I would say. If you were going to do like the return flight, this aircraft state is basically exactly the same when you set cold and dark, and then set this external power to on with your batteries on, of course. And these are all reset. You can click these in. Well, there's actually no need to. If you put the flight director on, then you can start clicking these in. But there's no flight plan filed, so they won't click in and get the dash 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 dot. Whew. Anyway, like I said, that was part 3 of our FSLabs tutorial. I hope you have understood, and I hope I haven't waffled too much, and I hope I haven't talked too fast. If I have, then you can just do the YouTube thing and do speed down to 0.5 or 0.75 if you really need. I can talk really slowly to mess up the people doing that. But yeah, that is the FSLabs in all its glory. No, I'm wrong. There's also the DCDU, which is I can't find the pop-up page, but yeah, whatever. I'll see you next time. Bye.